$75,000 per year. For years, you've heard this number. This is the supposed cutoff where more money stops buying you more happiness. It's a convenient trope that we love to repeat because it echoes phrases like money can't buy happiness or mo money, mo problems. But if you are living in 2025 and paying bills, you probably suspect that number is nonsense. And you are right. Here is the problem. That $75,000 figure comes from a study conducted way back in 2008 and 2009. First, we have to talk about inflation. If you pull up a standard calculator, you will see that to get the same purchasing power today, that $75,000 is actually around $108,000 per year. But secondly, think about what was happening in 2008. That was the height of the global financial crisis. People were losing their homes and jobs left and right. In that specific moment of history, just having a steady paycheck was a miracle. The bar for happiness was artificially low because people were just trying to survive. So the data is outdated and it was collected during a recession. But even with the number corrected to $108,000, there is still a massive misunderstanding about what that study actually proved. The study was done by Daniel Kahneman and Deaton, and the first clue to what everyone got wrong is in the title. High income improves evaluation of life, but not emotional well-being. So what does that actually mean in plain English? Basically, the researchers separated happiness into two buckets. First, you have emotional well-being, which is your short-term, day-to-day happiness. This is basically your smiles per hour. And the study found that people with higher incomes don't necessarily walk around giggling and smiling more than regular people. But then you have the second bucket, life evaluation. This is your long-term happiness. And in this category, wealthier people generally have a much more positive outlook and rate their lives significantly better than those earning less. The key to understanding why money doesn't make you giggle more is the quirk of human psychology called the Hedonic Treadmill. This is the observed tendency of humans to quickly return to a stable level of happiness despite major life changes. Think about it. If you win the lottery tomorrow, you'd be ecstatic. You'd lose your mind. But after you've swiped your card countless times, the novelty passes. Your high-rolling life just becomes your new normal. The same thing happens in reverse. If you get fired, you take a massive hit to your mood. But eventually, you find a new job, you adapt, and you bounce back to your baseline. Thanks to the Hedonic Treadmill, money doesn't guarantee a permanent spike in your daily mood. It just changes the baseline of what you consider normal. Now, let's look at how they actually figured this out. The study analyzed 709,000 U.S. households using something called the Cantrell ladder. This is a ranking system where people rate their lives from hopeless depression at the bottom to thriving prosperity at the top. Here is what most people get wrong about the data. More income did noticeably increase those long-term happiness indicators. It just didn't really impact the short-term mood. The original $75,000 or $108,000 today was simply the point where money stopped being a day-to-day struggle. Beyond that, money stops dominating your daily mood, but it absolutely still fuels long-term goals like buying a house, getting out of debt, or retiring. And finally, we have to consider the variables. The study assumes all households function exactly the same, but obviously they don't. A young, single professional with no debt is going to be living like a king on $108,000. But take that same income and give it to a family of 5 in Los Angeles paying a mortgage and student loans, that income is still going to feel tight. So what is the real answer? How much money do you actually need to maximize happiness? The unsatisfying answer is more. Studies consistently find that happiness increases with income, but the relationship is logarithmic. This means you get diminishing returns on every additional dollar. If you go from earning $25,000 to $50,000, your happiness metrics might increase by 50%. That's huge. But to get that same 50% increase starting from $250,000, you would need to double your income again, adding another $250,000 a year. Happiness builds with proportional increases, not nominal ones. There's one last catch, though. While the relationship between money and happiness is significant, the researchers found it only accounted for about 37% of the variance in happiness. That means 63% of your happiness is determined by other stuff. Things like your health, your relationships, your spirituality, and your work-life balance. The upshot is that someone on a modest income could still be far happier than a wealthy CEO who is lonely, unhealthy, and constantly stressed. But let us know what you think. Is $108,000 the new magic number? Or do you think you need even more to be truly happy in today's economy? The comments help out the channel, and it's always interesting to see the different opinions on this.